What is up, guys? It is Joe. We're back. We're talking all about the Cats, specifically K-State basketball. I know it's a weird time to talk about it, but let's jump into this specific topic in today's video. I've got some eligibility talk I want to have today with you regarding one Max Jones, a guy that everybody unanimously wants to have back in Kansas State, someone that could greatly benefit from a ruling from the NCAA regarding guys that spent time at different levels. We're going to talk about Max Jones in today's video, but before I do, hit the subscribe button. Quick reminder, we're closing in on 3,000 subs. It's crazy to say, super cool to say. We're in the final home stretch, the final 50, and at 3,000 subs, I'm getting a cat script tattoo on the left thigh. So be sure and hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on that front. You also just might like the content, might be another good reason in that sense. But let's talk about Max Jones. Folks, Max Jones has become a dude. I mean, I'm going to be honest about that up front. I know this is a tough time. You're coming off back-to-back losses, but one thing that's been said this whole stretch, Max Jones has been a really, really reliable piece of this squad. And I'll read you the stats and I'll talk about everything here in a sec, but Max Jones just continues to get work done. Whether it's on the glass, whether it's defensively, whether it's offensively, whether it's three-point shooting or driving the lane, the dude continues to show up on the box sheet and make big game impact. In his step up from Cal State Fullerton, he's hit the ground running. Obviously, there was allegedly during the summer, there's a little bit of an overlap where it's like, hey, is this guy the right dude? Jeff Goodman talked about it where he didn't come in, up to standard of what they expected. He comes back from break and he's toned, he's fit, he's ready to roll, and Max Jones has became a stud. Like, he's already showed that multiple times. K-State fans absolutely do give him his credit. That's not what I'm trying to say. National media doesn't necessarily look at Kansas State and say Max Jones is one of the best shooters in the Big 12, though he is statistically. Max Jones shooting 40% from three, improving his splits from Cal State Fullerton and D2 Tampa to start his career out, and that's what we're going to talk about. D2 Tampa is something we need to talk about for Max Jones' career, but this season, the 6'4" senior from Clearwater, Florida is averaging 9.8 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 1.9 assists per game on 42.4% shooting from the field, also connecting on 40% shots from three-point land. He's averaging 30 minutes per game, which is, obviously starter minutes. He's a guy that is reliable, dependable, and someone you want on the basketball court. I know that there's been this conversation of effort and energy from everybody on the team, like who gives energy, who wants to be out there, who's playing for Kansas State. And a recent press conference from Jerome Tang, I think, really highlighted that fact that they're aware of what was happening. But Max Jones was never one guy that I ever questioned. Like, you never looked at Max and said, I wish he'd try a little bit harder. Max was going all out every single night, regardless of the opportunity, regardless of what they needed him to do. Max Jones would put his effort, put his heart on the line, put his body on the line, and that motivates the rest of the guys. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if this team's going to make the postseason tournament. They need to go 4-1 at least and then win a game or two in the Big 12 tournament to reach postseason play, by my estimation. Could something change there? Absolutely. But that 0-2 swing on the road trip to Utah is kind of a brutal break for the postseason hopes, but I don't know, what is it? Still 5% chance for Kansas State to make the tournament? That's kind of the vibe I get right now. But definitely still a possibility, and I won't rule that out. What I view this season as, and this specifically pertains to Max Jones, I feel like the year before this, you had some pieces. You had really good pieces on the team. You didn't have a good team. You had a lot of good individual pieces. Arthur Kaluma's a good piece. Cam Carter now obviously a good piece at LSU, looking like a good player there. You had some young guys that developed and picked up the game here and there. Obviously, Tyler Perry didn't have another year of eligibility, but a good player. What you hoped for from that team was that they retained their key pieces. Day-Day Ames, some of the freshman talent. Obviously, if you could retain Art and Cam, I think everyone in that situation kind of understood it just wasn't going to happen. But the point of what I'm saying is you needed to retain a few key pieces, and the year after that, that's where you build the team. When you find pieces in the transfer portal, in high school recruiting, whatever the case is, you get to a point where you have basis of, okay, this guy's a reliable player, this guy's a reliable player, this guy's a reliable player, and you sit there with 5 or 6 dudes, then you pick and choose guys in the portal the next year to build a team around that to complement them. That's where you get these special runs. Can it happen lightning in the bottle? We saw it happen lightning in a bottle with Keese, Ish, Keontae, Naquan Tomlin, all those dudes in Tank's first year. You retain a few key pieces. Obviously, David Gasson being a huge retention piece, but what you're seeing for Kansas State is we're trying to enter this next era of keeping a few pieces, then building the team around them to the next season. That's the name of the game. That should be the name of the game every single season. Max Jones is a guy that you absolutely desire to have back. You want him on the basketball court. He's a starter in the Big 12. He's shown his ability to go out there and get it done. You really, really want to have Max Jones back. The way I look at it or not, this year, even though it was disappointing, even though you spent as much money as you did at least establish a foundation to capitalize on next year. I'm not trying to handicap anything and say that this season was, anything better than disappointment. I get that. But the point of what I'm seeing is this. You get a guy like Max Jones back, and we'll talk about the process there. You get a guy like Brendan Hawson back. You get a guy like Doug McDaniel back. You get some pieces in the front court that are depth guys. Obviously, you lose Coleman Hawkins and David Gasson. You're going to lose some pieces here and there, but you have guys that have shown the ability to play. Brendan Hawson's one of your 2 leading scorers. Max Jones averaging 10, 3, and 2. and shooting at an effective clip. These guys are good pieces. Doug McDaniel has looked like both the best point guard in America and a guy that struggled, and you just hope for consistency there. You get these guys on the team, then you build the pieces that complement their game around them. Next season, you know what you have. You have guys that carry the culture flag to the next season. That team in 2025, 2026 could be really, really special. Now, as far as Max Jones goes, you're going to have to hope for the NCAA to, not to be smart, because they're never smart about anything, but you just hope that they don't see Max Jones as an isolated case and say, nah, forget this guy. Because there's been some guys that have already sued the eligibility thing, that have already sued the NCAA for their eligibility back, and one guy's won it, one guy's lost it. One from Kansas State, a baseball player, actually suing the NCAA for spending time at D2 Stonebrook College, I don't know which one it is off the top of my head. One of those is going to make me sound stupid, the other one's right. Kansas State fans deserve to have another year of Max Jones. That's the reality. We didn't get another year of Desi Sills. That was heartbreaking. These are almost identical players in the stat sheet, vastly different ways they do it and capitalize on it, but if you can get Max Jones for another year, that's huge. And Jerome Tang talked about that at a recent press conference, and I want to play the audio here for this because I thought it was a really, really good clip, and you guys should hear what Coach Tang thinks about the possibility of retaining Max Jones for another year.
We've been on the forefront of that one. Yeah, whatever we can do to get Max Jones another year of eligibility, I'm all about it. We have a compliance department that looks into waivers, and that was one of my specialties. So I'm all about it. We're gonna turn over every rock and figure it out, my man. I'm just telling you. If I was excited because I think there was one kid that got one his thing, and then one kid didn't. And so, but normally when one kid gets it and asserted to avoid a series of lawsuits, they'll just do like a blanket waiver like they did for the quarterback at Vanderbilt with the junior college thing. And so I could see that happening. I know that if the opportunity is there for him to come back, we are going to do everything in our power to make sure he does.
So the Cats are all for it. They are all for getting Max Jones back. And I got to tell you, I'm the same boat. I don't think there's many Max Jones haters out there. If you are, identify yourself, man. Let's talk about it. This is kind of ridiculous, but Max is a good player, start to finish, does what you need him to do. You build a couple guys in the front court. You find a couple good pieces. Obviously, you need some experience in the front court too, but you got a solid backcourt already. I don't know what the roster makeup is going to look like with starters and guys coming off the bench, but the point of what it is Max Jones is going to be one of your top 5 players next year, top 6 players next year, and that's not really a question that I'm going to be leaving open for interpretation. That's a fact. So you pray every single day that the NCAA stuff works out in Max's favor. Obviously, the Diego Pavia lawsuit basically granted a blanket waiver for everybody. Coach Tang talked about that. And you hope that a couple more dudes sue the NCAA before it has to come to Max specifically doing it himself. Because if they get approved for a couple D2 guys, a couple D3 guys, then you get that opportunity where it's like, all right, forget it. Everybody that played D2, to save us the time, you all get another year of eligibility. Now, as far as a guess and a prediction goes, because I think this is a good thing to mention, what I think will happen, I do think Max Jones will be back for Kansas State next season. It's out of their control. It's out of our control. But what I do think is going to happen is this. A couple more people will sue, whether it's D2, D3, some more people will happen. Will it be a blanket waiver? I don't necessarily think it will. But what will happen is this. Guys, specifically in Max Jones's case, okay, you can't get another year of eligibility if you're a sophomore. Say you're a sophomore and you started your freshman season at, D2 Tampa, just for an example, like Max. If you immediately get to a Power 5 program and you're not running out of eligibility, I don't think they're going to give you a waiver. For Max, this is his last year of eligibility. If the waiver doesn't get passed, give him one more season to complete that cycle, you're good. I think everybody that's a graduating senior in 2024-25 will end up with eligibility going forward, and that's my pick. So I think Max Jones will be back next season. Could it change? I will absolutely be keeping you up to speed on that, but it's going to be something to watch for Kansas State because he's a good basketball player. He's someone you want back, and you can absolutely use the pieces found this season to contributing to an elite team next year. That's where I want to leave this thing at for now. I know I made a video about this a couple weeks ago, but wanted to kind of update because I thought Coach Tang's answers were really, really, thought-provoking, something we should all talk about. But guys, that'll do it for today's video, and I'll talk to you all soon. Go Cats!